Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree. I am a transgender woman and I talk about all things horror. And today I got my buddy. He's sitting on my lap. He wants to be a part of it today. For today's horror review, we're talking about Get Out. I'm gonna be very careful not to spoil it too much. But I really can't, this is one of those movies you really can't talk about without spoiling it a little bit. Just a little bit, because if I just say it's about racist white people that kidnap a black man and bad things happen, that doesn't fucking tell you anything. And you don't want to know the twist, so I don't want to tell you that. But I'm gonna... So, here's the thing about Get Out. It is intense. And I mean intense in a lot of ways. It's not super scary at first. In fact, most of the movie plays out more like a weird, kind of, more like a family drama with some creepy elements and some obnoxious jump scares. But it doesn't really feel like a horror movie for the first, 2 acts. It feels more like a, like a suspenseful drama, yeah, something is happening, but you don't know what. And then there's a moment, and I don't want to say what happens, but there's a moment in the movie where they just flip a switch, and all of a sudden it's a fucking horror movie. And I mean a horror movie. It is intense, bloody, graphic, violent, scary, fucked up, traumatized. I mean, it's just like, it just, once the train leaves the station, it don't fucking stop. It just, takes them a while to grease the wheels and fuel up and check everybody's tickets and make sure everything's good and clear the tracks before it leaves the station. Which normally, for me, doesn't always work. Now, I've had some films in the past that I criticized for being too slow of a burn. Most famously, my constant bitching about Halloween 1978. It's the fucking 90-minute movie and nothing happens until the last 20 minutes. Fuck off, Carpenter. God damn. This movie, though, it hooks you right away. Because the opening scene, and this I will spoil, the opening scene, you see a innocent, mild-mannered, just black man, just regular Joe, walking down the street, get abducted, thrown in the trunk of a car, and then boom, we're in. But then it stops. It pumps the brakes. It's like, nah, we were just revving the engine, I guess. I don't know. And all of a sudden, it's a family drama about a white girl who's dating a black man. This is important. And she's taking him home for this big family weekend gathering, family get-together thing that he doesn't know anything about. And also to meet her very, very, very white parents. Look, I'm white, and even these people are whiter than I am. And rich. And you get this slow, suspenseful kind of drama, you get hints of something's not right with the help. And they're all black people, by the way. This is important. All the rich people are white, and all the workers, the groundskeeper, the housekeeper, etc., they're all black people. Now, this is just, this is normal in the South, in the rich white areas. This is normal at first, so it seems, on the surface. Now, I'm not going to spoil what actually happens, but most of the intensity, and I'm going to use that word, comes from what they do to the black man. And how they, and I'll just say, manipulate and control him until he very slowly pieces together what's actually happening. And at first he doesn't believe it. He's just like, that's not real, it's not possible, it can't be happening, no. But then, as he starts pulling on the threads and everything unravels, he realizes, oh shit, it actually is what I think it is. That's not fucking good. And as the name of the movie says, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Well, the rich white people basically were manipulating him from day one. And he has to fend for himself because, as you would expect, the police don't believe the conspiracy, because why would they? It sounds far-fetched. And his girlfriend is trying to reassure him the whole time that everything's fine. My parents are just out of touch, clueless, white privileged assholes. They're not. She's trying to say they're not intentionally racist or harmfully racist. They're just, they aren't aware of their white privilege and blah, blah, blah. And they do play up on that a little bit. But then when, and I'm just going to use this phrase as they say, the shit hits the fan, he's covered in diarrhea the rest of the movie. And it's not good. It is no good. And then you get that last scene, which again, I'm not going to spoil it. And your heart stops and you're like, God damn it, they did it. They went there. They fucking went there. And then you're like, fuck this movie. And then something happens and the credits play. And I'm not going to get any more detail than that. And you're like, you're left, your jaw on the floor. You're like, what the fuck did I just fucking watch? Now, the first question is it any good? Yes. Yes, it is. Is it scary? Yes and no. Yes, in that, overprivileged rich white girl taking black, working class boyfriend to meet the white rich parents in the woods for the very first time. Something's gonna go down. Even if you don't know what, or even if it's not like intentional, things are gonna get fucking awkward right off the bat. But the jump scares, and this is why I say it's yes and no. Is it scary? Because it is, but it relies way too fucking heavily on obnoxious, unnecessary jump scares. They're used to kind of let you know something's off about the people you're supposed to be paying attention to. But there's probably better ways to do that. You can draw attention to the strangeness without the fucking jump scares. So to that end, it's only scary insofar as the jump scares are going to make you jump. That's about it. Until you get to that last scene where your heart stops because you're like, fuck. Black man, rich white dudes, bloody corpses everywhere. You know what's going to happen when the police show the fuck up. It ain't going to be good. So, that last 20 minutes of the movie is pretty intense, pretty scary. The rest of the movie, and when I say, let me go back to the jump scares. Well, let me finish this sentence and then I'll go back to the jump scares. The rest of the movie is pretty mellow. Right? I would argue, and I'm sorry if this offends people, kind of boring. It's got a few moments that get me like, oh, okay, and bring me back in. But I start to drift watching this movie. I'm like, alright, great, now we gotta listen to senators talk about senator bullshit and golf scores and all that goddamn obnoxious bullshit. But then they throw just ever so often a jump scare that, like, shakes you awake, and then you're like, oh shit, I forgot this was a horror movie. Or they'll throw you a very subtle hint of what's actually going on. That'll make you go, oh shit, are they doing this? Are they really fucking doing this? And yes, they do. Almost every time, the bad thing you're thinking, they're not going to do that, they do. Again, I'm not going to spoil it and get into the details, but especially if you're an American and you know Southern history, you can kind of... This movie's predictable. You can guess what's going to happen before it happens. But when it happens, you're still shocked because you're like, Jesus Christ, they actually fucking did it. And you're like, God damn. And what makes it all the more intense is the filmmaker who made it is a black man. And that's just like, you know, this is something people in that community fear happens. And you know, hey, it may be, well, maybe not as depicted in the movie, but something along these lines probably happens because, you know, the thing that did happen. So, you know, there's a lot of that. There's so many layers to this film. I am not going to recommend this as a rent or a buy. And the reason I'm going to say that is because while it is a quality film, this movie is going to likely leave some people traumatized. This is the type of movie that's going to traumatize you. And in that case, you might not want to watch it again. Do you want to watch it once to have that experience? Again, I'm going to caution you, be careful. This movie could probably mess you up. Is it a good movie? Yes. And if I was going to give it an official rating, it would be buy. But the reason why I'm not, and I don't do this often, but I have done it in the past, and the reason why I don't is because it's not for everybody. Does it belong in your collection? I would say yes, but with the caveat that, you know, there are some movies that are too much for me. They're just too much. Me personally, yeah, this is already in my collection. That's how I was able to watch it. So my official recommendation is rent it first, and then if it doesn't traumatize you, then buy it, because it is good enough to be in your collection. Just don't blind buy this one, because you might be like, well, I spent $20 on a movie I'll never watch twice. Just be careful, is all I'm saying.